I hate when my relatives come over. That is when I wish I most was athletic.
Why is the Latin guy also?
I don't know.
Got a hand movement.
I don't know. This helps me get into my Latin.
What's up, bleeders, ladies and gentlemen out there, Colt-blooded fans? You are our bleeders. This is my host, Drew Lynch.
Hi, and that's my host, Isaac Allen.
Yeah, we're not co-hosts. We are each other's hosts.
We are each other's hosts.
We host each other all the time. I like to kick things off by issuing a formal apology in another We Were Wrong segment. Really, I was wrong. Drew had nothing to do with it.
I just went with him complicitly. He's my host, so I just kind of blindly
I guess guilty by association.
Sure. I'll be an accessory to this.
Yeah. Don't associate yourself with me. What are you doing?
I don't know what to say,
Why would you do that?
I just started a podcast with you. Now we have custody. What do you want me to do?
You know what? That's a good point. Starting a podcast is the thing to do. But my apology is because I mentioned something about what I thought was a fun fact, is that the AFC East...
It was fun. I did have a good time while you said it.
That's what we're
We're
here
still going to
for.
have a good time while you say the next part, too.
Yeah.
The way you revise it will still be good.
It's just a little more targeted this time, this statement about that I made about the Colts having the best record in the history of the AFC East or something like that, or the most divisional wins. Turns out it was just that they have more divisional wins than the Jets in the AFC East, all in all, said and done. So it's really just a joke for the Bills, Patriots, and... who's the other one over there?
The Dolphins.
Dolphins
and
fans.
anytime the Colts and the Patriots can get a laugh in on something, I mean, that's good.
That's a good point. It's like bringing divorced parents together.
It's exactly right.
It's like bringing mommy and daddy
all right,
together.
the kid's graduating. Like, let's, you know what I mean? We're getting rid of them. So
yeah.
All right, I love that. Please accept Isaac's humble regards for his
Humbly.
negligence.
Gross negligence.
Gross misconduct. All right, let's get right into one of our favorite segments here at Colt Blooded. What has got you shine, Steichen, fired up? What's got you fired up? Shoot, Steichen.
I mean, shoot. You know what's got me fired up, man? First of all, I'm fired up to be here. I'm fired up to talk about this. I'm fired up to get into it. But really, what's firing me up right now? Yes. OTAs. I am so fired up. I mean, shoot. When you look at what,
got me fired up too.
You know, for a multitude of reasons, injuries, people are back. You know, maybe you have a couple people with some nagging stuff, but they're just not participating, but they're ready to go. Like Braden Smith, he's a little dinged up, but he's ready to go. Pittman had a little scare, but he walked it off. He's good to go.
Dude, Pittman's as tough as it gets, man.
Yeah, but look who's back. You know, Dallas Flowers, back.
Whoa.
Back in that room with Juju and Jalen and just trying to battle it out now.
Whole lot of depth.
Jelani back.
Yes.
And apparently making plays down the seam.
As he should.
With Senior Flacco, maybe we should call him.
He is, we said, we did the little swoosh thing above it as a very nice, nice nod to young Flacco.
He's a senior.
Yes, he is a senior.
It's senior. So Jelani, and I heard, you know, Shane is talking about like sky's the limit with Jelani. Yeah. And that makes me happy. And I mean, shoot, it doesn't make me happy, but it fires me up.
That fires you up, though.
It fires me the fuck up. Way the fuck up. I mean, it's Jelani, and then Jalen Carlies.
Yeah, I know.
Jalen Carlies, and we need secondary, someone to just burst through and make plays out of a late round pick. And that's what you were talking about last time. Who's great at picking secondary players in late rounds?
Yep.
Ballard. He's the guy, so he's done it. That's got me fired up. Jalen had that pick of Flacco, and I'm like, I mean, he's that hybrid safety / linebacker. They're gonna convert him to linebacker, is what they said. Yeah,
which I think is really, really cool that he has that kind of experience coming into a new position. I mean, he's in a great position because he might not start, but he is still going to be competitive, and I think can make an impact at a later time if he has if he's looking at it through the lens of a ball hawk and he's coming into a linebacker position, you know, it's like when a receiver converts to a corner. You know, it's just like sometimes you just like see the influence of one other position that is on your current one. Yeah, and it puts a little wrinkle that other teams got to kind of go like, oh, we can't play this dude the same way we play all the other dudes at this position. And like
Yeah, so the fact that he's going to be shifting down the linebacker, but he's going to be bringing those coverage skills as a safety with him.
Yeah.
That's literally what they're trying to do, and he proved it the other day. I mean, we've got he's going to be great on special teams. A lot of these guys, I think, are going to contribute well on special teams.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why a lot of times Ballard will draft like secondary players on the back end of the draft. Because if they don't contribute right away, they're going to be on special teams. And if you get a receiver or a running back, whatever, they're just not. Special teams is about tackling, really. It's about running down there, getting through double teams or blocks, whatever, and then rushing down and coveraging. So that's. I mean, maybe he's just playing chess and not checkers in that way. And Richardson's back. He's healthy at OTAs. Apparently, he's. I mean, we had to temper expectations, right? Because no pads,
right?
No pads, right? But Richardson apparently is looking great slinging it, is what I'm hearing. Anthony Gould returning kicks. I mean, with Josh Downs, I mean, I think we're set up to be, and all the pundits are actually being positive now.
I know.
Guess what? Guess what the word they're using to describe us is?
What?
Sneaky.
Ooh, I like that.
Sneaky sleepers.
I like that. Sneaky sleepers.
Senior.
Sneaky sleepers. I love that. That does get that. What you're saying right now, how fired up is getting you is got the same impact for me. I'm just as fired up. I mean, shoot.
What were you fired up about?
I could tell you exactly what I'm fired up about this week.
Tell me. Shoot. Come on.
Here it is. In 2020, when Jalen Hurts was drafted, he went 4 rookie starts, and then Shane Steichen came in. I mean, shoot. Steichen came in. Shoot. I mean, shoot. He came in the following year as offensive coordinator. And one thing that I thought was pretty interesting was from his first year with Steichen to his second year with Steichen, Jalen Hurts improved his quarterback rating from 77.6 to 87.2. So that was from his rookie year without Steichen to his next year with Steichen. So with Steichen, he did 87.2, and then in his third year leap, okay, so under his second year with Steichen, he went from 87.2 to 101.5 in his 2 years under Steichen, and obviously that's the year they went to the Super Bowl as well. That has got me fired up, young Isaac. Fired up. I mean, because if we're looking at what is, I mean, everybody kind of, I just think if in that first year that Jalen Hurts was with Steichen, he had an 8-7 record. All right, and I'm hoping that with a second year Steichen working with Richardson, it will hopefully be somewhere between that 8-7 year and then that whatever they did, which was like 14-1 or something. Like, it was insane. Whatever they did, they did like. It was like 14-3.
That defense and offense were just humming together so well.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's great.
So I just think that the thing that's got me kind of fired up about that, I mean, mostly fired up, I mean, I'm fired up about it, is he will have a second year to really be in the system, and I just think the numbers don't lie about what Steichen was able to do with Hurts, and I'm hoping that same impact carries out with somebody who observed the system, paid attention to a veteran in the system, and is still got his feet wet a little bit by having 4 starts as well.
I mean, I completely agree with that because I think Shane is magic.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the centerpiece. I mean, we've talked about that. You already know I feel this way.
Yeah.
Shoot Shane Steichen is the centerpiece of the success of this franchise. And it's people probably want to temper those expectations with me and with themselves because of what happened with Frank Reich coming from the Eagles. It's almost identical what he did.
Yeah.
But Shane is just he curses. I mean, we already talked about that.
Shoot, we love that.
I mean, shoot. You got to fucking shit and shooting Shane.
He shoots in press conferences and then he shits during the game, and that's what we like.
And in the locker room.
And in the locker room.
Yeah,
and that's what we like.
I mean, freaking shoot, man. But so there's that. But the second thing is just that Shane's got this different. He doesn't have this Frank Reich thing where he's stubborn. That's the thing. Reich always had this stubborn. I mean, he did some good things for us in that first year.
Yeah.
But then it goes downhill. It just went downhill. Same with Chuck. Like, it's just, we've had the history of this, and I think Shane is going to break that cycle because he doesn't rest on his laurels or get stubborn about like the way we're going to play. Okay, we're just going to stick to prevent defense this whole time because we're up this much. It's like, dude, we know we've lost so many games in the last 2 decades as Colts fans with just doing stuff like that. Yeah. And Shane's not one of those dudes. I noticed that last year. Like, it was fun watching us not be up but not go into prevent. Like, let's get Kenny Moore another pick 6. You know what I mean? Like, it was a great feeling. And because of that, that's like the Shane thing, using that as the focal point, what you're talking about and what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's got me double fired up.
Yeah. Because there's doubly fired up.
There's another thing I kind of want to touch on.
Sure.
Which is something that Shane will be the difference maker in with Ballard, that Ballard's been doing for years, which is drafting people. The Colts have the highest RAS score of any team.
Relative athletic score.
It's very relative.
It is relative, and it's relative right now.
Yes. If Albert Einstein was here, he'd be like, it's the relative.
It is an athletic score.
Athletic score, much like the
that is so relative.
Gravity and the space.
Und
it's all relative.
Big lineman.
Und the big lineman.
Und the big lineman.
You know what is relative is their weight. It fluctuates.
One force comes to another force, and that force should be fairly big.
And what happens when unstoppable force meets immovable object? They crash.
They crash.
And guess what?
That is when it is important to have relative athletic score.
It's all relative.
It is all relative.
Their RASs are too similar, and they collide, and then all of a sudden they go nowhere.
Sometimes. I don't know. I'm losing my accent. Sometimes.
Did you ever really have it?
I had it. I feel like I had it. I had it for just a moment.
But let's do this.
He's Latin now. So with this.
In nomine Patri, fat alignment.
I hate when my relatives come over. That is when I wish I most was athletic.
Why is the Latin guy also?
I don't know.
Got a hand movement.
I don't know. This helps me get into my Latin. All right. Yeah, you sent me an article, which I was super psyched to see, because Chris Ballard, he drafts very high end traits. We all know this, but he drafts them based on, the relative athletic score, which, I mean, even if they don't work out to be a very good football player, at the very end of the day, you are taking a huge swing on hopefully somebody that ends up being a freak athlete and a good football player, or a great football player.
And the reason why I think it hasn't manifested in the past in terms of record and success for us,
I was going to ask you about that,
because of Shane.
Oh.
So Ballard drafts all these traits, right? But then you get guys like Chuck Pagano, and you get guys like Reich, who again we loved for what they gave us at the beginning of their careers. Reich, he was our first Reich. Let's leave it at this just one.
Yeah.
You don't need more Reichs.
No.
Definitely not up to 3.
No.
And yeah, it's just Ballard drafts all these players with these traits, but I think Shane is finally going to be the guy to optimize those traits.
Ooh, that's a great word.
Because no one ever could.
Interesting. And I think we don't know. All we know is what we see as far as what the draft process is like and how collaborative those two are together. You do kind of hope that they're attached at the hip, the coach and the GM, when it comes to being like, this is who we're fired up about. But like, I will say there is something kind of interesting, because I read that article that you sent me about the top 5 teams who draft based on relative athletic score, and
yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
It is because I think number 2, I believe, was Jets, and then number 3 was like the Giants, and then number 4 was like number 2 was Eagles, number 3 was Jets, number 4 was Giants, number 5 was Jaguars. So. Is that good company? Howie Roseman. That's good company. You're up there with Howie Roseman.
Howie Roseman, yes. The Jets, Jags, Giants, we all know their management is terrible. Their front office has holes. Right. Remember we talked about holes? Plug your holes.
Right.
That could be a new segment. Plug your holes.
Right.
I think the Jags, Khan, he's an okay. I think he's getting better, maybe as he's like definitely reticent about that. But it almost looks like when you look at the bottom tier too, the last 2 in RAS, the bottom 2 are the
Rams,
the Bengals, last 3, Bengals,
Raiders, Rams.
Only one playoff team in there too, and only one playoff team at the top. Looks like the spot you want to be is kind of in the middle. But again, when you throw management into that thing. You throw the front office. I think that's where it's. Yeah. I mean, the Bengals were a playoff team and did great with Browning, but I think they got their coaching figured out. They got their management figured out. They're ready to go. Right?
I like the Rams, man.
The Rams too.
The Rams management is good.
Lowest RAS out of everyone, 6.66.
They just can draft good football players.
And apparently the devil. As their coach,
but also the coaching. You know what I mean? They've got who's their
McVay.
They got McVay, and who's their GM? Snead. What's his name?
Snead? Yeah, Les Snead.
Les Snead.
Is it?
Or is that Chiefs?
That might be.
I'll find it. No, Brett Veach is Kansas City.
We're thinking of Legarius.
No, I think his name is like Les Snead or something.
Really?
I think Rams GM quick. It is Les Snead. That is
wow.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I'm excited for all of that to come together. I like it because it, identity is a thing. You do want to have a bit of an identity. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the Colts are number 1 in the NFL based on their relative athletic skill. I think that is I don't know, like I like that. I like that he's been able to do that. And Chris Ballard, he does have a bit of a like I'm the smartest guy in the room, but also we are kind of hoping that he is. And maybe it's the year where it's like you need the right producer. You need the right, you need the right producer to kind of come, exactly, who can come together. You know what I mean?
If you got to get the right producer with the right director with the right actors, or with the make the hits.
E.T.
Make the.
That's exactly right.
You just Spielbergs, baby. Got to get your Spielbergs in there.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What's more likely? We sweep the NFC North or the AFC East?
I think the AFC East.
Wow. No hesitation.
No hesitation.
That was insane. Can we even talk about it, or should I just go fuck myself?
I mean,
that was insane. You would have thought we rehearsed that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna say this.
And it's not like I just repeated the last thing you said because it's early and I'm tired. I was literally like, as soon as you said the T in East, I was like, you already said NFC North. I know which one's the stronger division right now.
Well, let's look at it real quick. We have the Bears for the North. We have the Lions.
It's just the Lions,
Packers.
Man. The Lions and Packers are problems for people.
Vikings.
The Lions. You know why they're problems and why I just said that so fast?
Yeah.
I think we can just. I think the Pats and the Jets we can take out. I just don't. I mean, the Jets and Dolphins are kind of wild cards, but I think we have a shot at beating both of them more so than the Lions and the Packers because the Packers just surprise people all the time.
Right.
So it's like throwing a wild card in there. It's like you're like stop trying to throw fuel on the fire, but then someone over the fence next door throws wood for some reason and just lands, and all of a sudden the fire's back up again. You're like, that's the Packers. The Lions used to be a talent-heavy roster that could not win when it mattered. They were not clutch, and now they flipped the script. Like they win last minute all the time. That Rams playoff game, I mean, that was a side of the Lions when they won that I have never seen before. I've never seen where the other team comes in, Stafford comes in, and he's just on fire beyond belief. And then Jared Goff goes, then me too.
Yeah.
And goes toe to toe. I've never seen a Lions team do like that. Now they're like that.
The Lions have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. I mean, that's the other thing is they kind of felt like last year was their year, and it feels like they only got better and they only got more experience. They only got further into the playoffs. I mean, the Lions I don't know. They are they're a juggernaut. That's what they are.
NFL.com didn't even put them in the top 10 of like most complete rosters. And I was like, I don't get that. They seem so complete to me.
That doesn't strike me as real at all. I feel like they're very complete. But on the other hand, I also think that the Colts could end up being a trap game for the Lions. I don't know. I mean, it's just I don't know. I'm inclined to say the AFC East is more likely as well because the Jets and the Pats, but also, I mean, the Bills, the Dolphins. The Bills feel like a team that we kind of have their number, is what it feels like. It also feels like that with the Jets too. I mean, I feel like the Pats are going to play us tough. We're going to be in Foxborough. We haven't won in Foxborough in however long. And then the Dolphins are just an offensive juggernaut. So, I mean, it really is kind of like I could see us going 3-1 in either of these, or 2-4 in both. Like it's
the Dolphins are just so inconsistent to me. Like, right? I just feel like the 1 second they're blowing out the Broncos 50 to something in the first half. The next second they're just getting curb stomped by like the Chiefs or someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's just,
didn't we sweep the AFC East the last time we played them?
Oh, that,
because that
That was a while ago. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But I'm positive that was the year that Jonathan Taylor broke off for that game-winning touchdown in prime time against the Pats. The one where it was at Lucas Oil. It was in December, like December 18th or something like that.
Exactly where I was.
Yeah,
in that
he broke it off. He like cut through Judon and then broke through the secondary.
These three guys were laughing at me at the bar. I did a show. I came outside. It was a show I was producing. I came outside because the game was on too. So I'm like trying to figure out what comic am I bringing up? Who's going up next? People have requests, and then I'm like, okay, and I run outside and I'm like watching the game at the bar next door on the screen, and I just remember these five guys laughing at me because they were like, yeah, dude, it's the Pats though, you know, the best run defense, and then as soon as they just hear me yell, to the house, I just started yelling, to the house.
So I think that was the year that I know we beat the Jets that year in prime time, and I know we beat the Bills that year as well. I don't remember what we did with the Dolphins that year.
I think they beat us.
Really?
I think they did. I think it was like that was like a weird game for us. Colts are always down to, and most teams have this, but the Colts are always down to have one or two just weird games where you're like the Falcons game last year was that game for us. It was like, why are we losing to this team? We have playoff aspirations. It is time.
I think we played. No, I think that year I was over at your place. That was October 3rd of 21. That was the year that I think we beat the Dolphins. The Colts beat the Dolphins.
What was the score?
27-17.
All right.
And that was early in the season. It was game 4.
I'd like to issue another apology.
Gee, Isaac, you got to, dude, again. You can't keep talking.
I'd be a great politician. Just saying shit. Just
saying stuff.
And just with conviction.
I know, and I'm endorsing it.
We had the best record in the AFC East of all time. The Indianapolis Colts. Fact. Not fake news.
Nah. So, all right. That was my question to you.
Okay.
Early on, I just want to know, like, if you think it's more likely we sweep. I mean, I would love a sweep, to be honest with you. That would be incredible. I mean,
I think we go 3-1, like you said.
3-1
or
in each,
and in each, maybe 2-2 in one of them. Like NFC North, that Packers game is to me, that's the toss-up game that I had trouble predicting last time. That both of us did.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much did I flip-flop on that?
No, you did good.
I went full John Kerry.
Yeah.
Win, no, a loss. No, a win,
yeah,
no, a loss.
You definitely did. You went back and forth quite a bit. Who takes a bigger leap this year? Alec Pierce or Josh Downs?
I'm going to say... apparently Pierce had a pretty decent first week of OTAs. Again, no pads. Because we need to figure out how Pierce gets off of press and gets that separation and things like that. I mean, he's a bigger guy. He should be better at that. But again, lack of quick twitch. I mean, if you're big enough to push off the guy in the first 5 yards or move him around, that's great. But if you can't, like, then put your foot in the ground and twitch out and separate, you know. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Downs, and I'll tell you why. Because he's the slot guy, and the pressure is going to be taken off of him with two outside guys that are killing it.
Yeah.
And I think that Pierce is more under pressure because he's now competing with Adonai.
Right.
So I think I was listening to a Colts podcast or a Colts video today where they were talking, a PFF video. They were talking about the Colts, and it was like they were saying kind of the same thing that we've been saying, which is just like, yeah, how long is it going to be before? One of them said, yeah, is it really going to be that hard for AD to beat out AP? Like, he literally said it like that, and I was like, look, I hope AP takes lead. Competition in that room then, ooh, that room would be fire if all three of those dudes suddenly were like king shit. You know what I mean?
I know. I mean, it's insane because I kind of see like how. I mean, I asked the question, but I'm also like, how does either one of them have? I mean, a breakout season, because the wide receiver room seems so complete right now. It seems so complete.
Yeah.
It just feels like
sneaky again.
Yeah, it just feels like it's the exact right thing that we needed to do to add to that room and feel scary to somebody on the other side.
You brought that up last time, and I was like thinking about that more and more. It's like, yeah, the fear, they got to be, when you play the Dolphins, you know they're not the most complete roster, but you see Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Mostert and H.A. and those guys in the backfield, and you just get a little scared.
Josh Downs had 771 yards last year, and Alec Pierce had 514.
Yeah.
And I think that Josh Downs had so many yards because of our limited our limited throws down the field. I mean, we had to do a lot of slot operation, and I also think our wide receiver room was kind of thin. I mean, so it was just kind of like we had AP, we had Michael Pittman, and then we had Downs, and they were kind of our three. And then it was like we had some guys thrown in. We had like Montgomery there at some point, and some of these people were we had some people in there at the end where we're like I remember the last few games, like even during the Houston game, I was like, who's that? Like I said that a few times. I was like, who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who goes there?
Yeah. It was
who goes there?
Who's that? I had a lantern. I was like, who's that?
With a robe.
Who?
A blue cloak with a horseshoe on it.
Who is it? Yeah.
Who goes there?
Yeah, I was very much that. I was
we are mere hobbits on the way to Bree.
Yeah. And during the Steelers game, I remember he made a drop during the end zone. And I was like, who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is this? And then I remember he redeemed himself later that game. But it was also just like that.
Oh, I remember. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was the Steelers game. But I remember looking at that and just being like, okay, we absolutely have to go wide receiver at some point in the draft. And I just think so many people are like, I mean, we also had some action from the tight ends as well last season. But it's just, your answer is
Downs.
Downs.
You know why? I doubled down on that too. I doubled downs on that.
You double downs it? Yeah, go ahead.
You know why I'm doubling downs?
Why are you doubling downs?
Because Richardson, like Josh Downs last year before Richardson went out, showed an immediate rapport with Richardson. They had an immediate. Yeah. I mean, remember that? What was it against the Rams?
Rams. Yep.
Yeah, when he just Richardson rolled out and just flung it.
Yeah.
Just did a backyard football move.
That was with Aaron Donald in his face.
And down. No, that was the one with Pierce. No, that was the one to Pierce.
I don't think
believe.
So. I mean,
look it up, but I believe because he did another one. Because you're talking about where he rolled out right.
Yeah.
There's one where he rolls out left.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know if it's the Rams
exactly
game.
What you're talking about.
I think it was.
It was, yeah.
Where and it was like backyard, like torque the body, just get that fucker up there. Threw it into double coverage with Downs, but it was a great throw. The timing was just perfect enough where Downs, the smallest guy in that, almost on that field, jumped up and just snagged that right before the two defenders could get there, tucked it, went down. That was like a 40-yard bomb or something too. I mean, and then through even on the little intermediate routes and the short routes, Richardson had timing with him. They already had a rapport, and then Richardson goes down, and now Minshew, who's been playing with the twos all year, has to now figure. And he eventually, towards the end, got into some kind of rhythm with Downs, but it wasn't even as good as what Richardson had with him.
It was. I agree with you, and it was with Alec Pierce. That throw that you're talking about.
To the right,
where he rolled out to the right with Aaron Donald on his face.
Yeah.
But to what you were saying with Josh Downs, that connection I noticed early on. But also, I just think that yes, it is about the quarterback and the wide receiver, but it also just speaks to how good Josh Downs is. I mean, he had some incredible just clutch catches last year. I remember there was one where Gardner Minshew was in pretty much his own end zone against the Pats, and he kind of threw it up, and then Josh Downs is like
completely
parallel to
horizontal.
the ground. Yeah. That shit's just insane. He's 5'9", and he's just so twitchy, but he just has great instincts. He's that guy who's like, I can find the zone, and then I can just kind of shred the zone.
Separation.
Yeah. T.Y. did that in T.Y.'s prime.
3.3 yards of separation tied with the cheetah. I mean, you can't beat that.
That's pretty crazy.
That's more separation than I'm trying to think of a non-political
divorce
example. That's more separation than Diddy and the legal system.
Whoa.
I don't know. I was just making some dumb stuff up.
No, more separation than like a broken household. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, like
I was trying to get specific with it. That was my mistake.
That's right.
But yeah, he's just Downs is going to take that leap. Yeah, I think he's going to break 1,000 yards. I think he's going to do it. Do you think so?
You would have to think that if everybody, I know this goes without saying, but if everybody we're talking about right now on offense stays healthy, Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Downs, Adonai, Pittman, and AP. You have to think that, I mean, this is a nightmare of an offense when I say it out loud. Jelani Woods, Ogletree, you have Granson, even Granson is an unsung hero of last season.
100%.
You just have so many people who, there's going to be an injury somewhere. We don't know who it's going to. We say that like it's an award. We're not sure yet who it's going to go to, and we don't want to even talk about that kind of thing. But it's just like there's going to be little hiccups along the way. I just think it's almost like the weakest link that we have right now is not knowing what Richardson is going to be able to be,
right,
or with his availability, or what he's able to
it's
to
an
do.
assortment of riches, and then that's the only thing we have to worry about. Because you're right, like I was right before you said that, I was thinking the same thing, like on paper and judging by past experience, I mean, our offense is going to be like the boogeyman under a lot of teams' beds.
Yeah,
like it's just because you just named 3 guys in the tight end room that contribute, that have all scored, last year. Except for Jelani.
Right.
But he scored a bunch the year before in the red zone. Yeah. And then you've got, obviously, Pittman, Adonai, Downs. Yeah. And then we'll see what happens with Pierce. But that's already 3 out of 4, I guess let's say 2 out of 4 studs, with Adonai probably going to be one. And then Pierce, jury's out, we'll see. Yeah. And then you go to the backfield. And who's back there? Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. The best running back in the league, I think, still. And I think he's going to prove that this year with the RPO. Yeah. Think about it. He never ran a single RPO with Richardson last year.
I know.
How crazy is that?
4 snaps together, right? Something like that?
4 snaps.
It's crazy. I mean, and it's crazy also to think about the fact that, like, we just buttoned everything up this offseason. You know, no loose ends. Contract stuff, roster stuff.
O-line intact.
Same players coming back, adding depth, getting other players back healthy. It's just we buttoned everything up, and I like that people are kind of writing us off. We always kind of like that, but it's one of these things that I think is setting us up to get much further than I think a lot of people think we will.
Guys like Richardson, Zaire, a lot of these I've been listening to them talk in their interviews and their podcasts and stuff, and it's like a lot of the adjectives I'm hearing are them with smiles on their faces, are them saying things like, this year's about to be crazy, or this year's about to be insane, or this year's going to be nuts. Like they're always using that adjective with a smile. And it's like, I think that they're feeling it. Yeah. They're feeling the juice. Yeah. They're feeling it flow through their veins, this blue blood that's like, that you and I have been bleeding for years. Oh, yeah. And these lovely people too.
Oh, yeah. I have a question for you, and I hope you have one for me. But I have another question. So,
burning question segment. Here we go.
Yeah, here it is. So, this is, I'm citing my sources here. Cole Thompson of Texans Wire compiled quarterback rankings from 6 different websites, all right, to determine a definitive cornerback ranking for the upcoming 2024 season. So this is a guy who he took the aggregate average of all of these articles and compiled a list, all right? So this is what it looks like for our division, all right? I wanted to read them to you. Will Levis is 25th between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
Hilarious that they're on the same team.
I know, that is so funny. They should all 3 be on the Steelers. Anthony Richardson.
White guy's in the middle, too. That's what makes me laugh.
I know. Anthony Richardson is 23rd between Derek Carr and Russell Wilson. Okay. So does that make sense? Like, Levis is up here, and then you got Russell Wilson, and then Russell Wilson, Anthony Richardson, Derek Carr. We're getting as we get to the bottom, we're getting to number 1. All right. Trevor Lawrence is 13th between Brock Purdy and Kyler Murray. And then CJ Stroud is 7th between Dak Prescott and Matt Stafford, which is weird. I feel like that's a double slight to Matt Stafford for some reason.
I mean, I don't hate that list, honestly, what you just said. It kind of makes, I kind of get where they're coming from with that.
So then my question is based on this, they're saying Anthony Richardson is 3rd best quarterback in the division. Does the 3rd best quarterback lead always to 3rd in the division?
No, look, the problem is sample size. We don't have a sample size with Anthony Richardson.
Right.
It all comes down to that. Yeah. Stroud, we saw a full year of Stroud. Yeah. Levis played way more than Richardson did. Yeah. Even though he came in, halfway through the season. Yeah. And didn't do as poorly as a lot of people thought he would. He kind of found his footing. He's kind of got that dog in him, honestly. I mean, I don't want to say it, but because I just don't. Even his face bothers me. Yeah, I mean, just as much as Tannehill. They just found like another Tannehill face that bothers me. It's like very similar. It's two. They look like they were like brothers. Yeah, but like they're both older brothers,
like they are relatives.
Yeah, they are relative older brothers. They come together with their faces and make them the same.
Athletic skulls.
Why would you do that? Yeah. Be different.
Be different.
Be Justin Fields and Russell. Wait a second.
Oops.
Oops. Terrible example.
Oops.
Terrible.
Isaac Newton, take it.
And yeah, so it's all come down to the fact that we just need to see more of Richardson.
So it's not always that the best quarterback, and we don't know if he's the best quarterback, but for right now they're going to say that CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in our division, but it's not always that the best quarterback ends up being, you end up being number one in your division, right?
Right. I mean, that's very, very true. Well, these days, I don't know, man. These days, if you got to have the best quarterback. I mean, think about who is the best in the AFC East.
AFC East, you would say Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, and he's the best quarterback. And then
they took the division last year.
AFC West.
AFC West, you got Mahomes.
Mahomes is the best.
They took the division. AFC North, geez, that one's tough. You got Burrow and you got Lamar. All right, so
who took that division?
Lamar.
Yeah.
So. But Burrow also got injured, so I don't even know if we can count that one, right?
Well, no, we can more count it because the best quarterback that played that year won the division.
Okay, you think Lamar is better than Burrow?
No, I think they're about. I mean, it's tough to say, but
it's different games.
They're so different.
But
I think they're about equal. But it furthers the point that the quarterback matters more when Burrow is out, and then the Baltimore Ravens take the division because now they have the best quarterback in that division.
Interesting.
If Burrow was there, maybe the Bengals win, and you say he's the best quarterback, or you say it doesn't matter. But thus far, it's looking like it matters, like 3 for 3. It matters. You look at the NFC North. Jared Goff is the best quarterback in that division. Love is
better
good.
than Love?
Yeah, but yes. I mean, he's just got more years on him. He's got more savvy, more veteran savvy. Love did that thing where he sat behind Rodgers for a few years, and that's why he looks a little savvier than what you would expect from a year one starter.
Right.
But Goff is the more proven, better quarterback in that division. And then
so then you have NFC East. No, NFC East, where Dak played his ass off last year. He was in the MVP conversation because of his quarterback rating. So they took the division. The Cowboys did, right? And then you've got the NFC South, which who won the NFC South last season? Was it the Falcons? Was it the Falcons or was it the Bucks?
No, it was not the Falcons. Was not the Saints.
It must have been the Bucks. It wasn't the.
It was the Bucks. Mayfield.
Okay.
Because they played that game one at home, or the first playoff game at home.
So Baker Mayfield's.
He could be the best quarterback at that division. Derek Carr is for the Saints, but
you got Kirk Cousins coming into the Falcons. We don't know what next year looks like, but for last year, I guess we could say that the best quarterback in that division was Baker Mayfield.
Who's the other team there? It's Panthers.
Yeah, so Bryce Young and his poor guy's not in a great situation.
Right.
So then you've got the NFC West, where you've got you had Stafford, Purdy, and then whoever was on the Seahawks, which I think was. Who's the Seahawks quarterback?
Smith, Geno.
So that's between Purdy and Stafford. Stafford, I think, is the better quarterback. I think the Niners are just the better team. So that's like the only anomaly in any of the ones that we just read.
Damn, dude. Because think about how different that is back in the day when guys like Trent Dilfer were winning Super Bowls.
I know. No, it's definitely changed. It's a quarterback heavy.
Rich Gannon.
Yeah, it is a quarterback heavy, quarterback favored league. And I think that everything we just read should tell you why. That's a little scary. It's a little scary to me. But again, we don't know what Anthony Richardson is. We could be in a year from now. We could literally be talking about the fact that Anthony Richardson is actually better than CJ Stroud. I know that's crazy, but it's not crazy. It's exactly why Chris Ballard bets on relative athletic score.
The relative, which by the way for the Colts,
yes,
in case you were wondering, is 8.39. Get the numbers right. Get them correct.
Half Asian man doing a perfect German accent at me. It's bothering me so much.
Do you know why?
Tell me why.
Because the other half of me is, guess what? German.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's amazing. Yes. That's incredible.
Und das macht Spaß.
Dude, that's incredible. It's really good though. Your German accent's better than your Asian one.
I've been told that before.
Yeah, I've heard it. I was like, I'm offensive.
Yeah, but it's also funnier. It's weird because like I can't. You can kind of talk about football with German. There's like Germans in football.
Yeah.
We drafted Bjorn Werner. Yeah. That one year is just Bernard Reimann.
Yeah.
Bernard Reimann. That's how you're supposed to say it.
Very good.
But there's no like.
There's like Young Wei Koo.
There's no
like Young Wei Koo.
Yeah, we can't be like. Do you know that guy Young Wei Koo on the offensive? He kicked the ball through the upright. I mean, it's so great. The way he kicked the ball through the two. Why did the goalpost yellow? That is so racist.
Yeah, dude, my Asian accent's way better than yours. I can't show you, but
can I hear it?
No. Anyway, so so we could in a year from now. I mean, I don't know, but in a year from now, we could actually be talking about that the fact that Anthony Richardson is like the superstar that Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen had truly bet on. I'm
betting on it too. If you're going to bet like who's going to be the greatest quarterback in the division, I'm probably going to put my money on Richardson.
Because the upside,
it's risk.
Because you've got a league with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you've got these guys where it's like, Joe Burrow. You have these guys where it's like you have to have a quarterback who's more than just competitive, or then you'll have a Jimmy Garoppolo situation, maybe even a Gardner Minshew situation. Love Min Jimmy, but it's just like, you have to have a guy who has that tremendous upside in case that he can reset the market, not even from a pay scale, but reset the market on a talent level.
Because a guy like Richardson, if he hits that upside, wow. I mean, brace yourselves. Look at Josh Allen. Yeah. He came into the league not accurate, lots of physical tools, not really knowing. It was like, what's going on up here in his cerebrum? What's going on in that cortex, those cortexes up in his head? Yeah. And he ended up showing that he got the right stuff. He's got the dog. He's got the smarts. He's got all that stuff. Yeah. What do you think about this? I just thought of this. What do you think about this comparison?
Teach me.
C.J. Stroud is to Anthony Richardson as, I don't know why I'm going like SAT.
No, that's okay. It's stressing me out, but go ahead.
Remember the I-step test?
Yes, I know.
This is what this is.
This is bothering me.
A lep is a ball. God damn it. Every time a lep is a ball. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do. I'm going to fail this again.
A lep is a goddamn ball. You know what I call balls now? I call them leps because of Indiana public school system.
Catch that lep. Go on. Five pots. Catch that lep. 5 pots. Fuck it. Pittman out there somewhere.
And Anthony Richardson drops back to pass. Looks left. Looks right. He flings the lep. And touchdown. He spikes the lep into the turf. Right. Indiana, you fucked me up.
C.J. Stroud is to Anthony
Richardson as Patrick Mahomes is to Josh Allen.
Oh.
I almost want to stick a skosh of Lamar in with the Josh Allen, but if we're just going to do one player comparisons.
See, because CJ's playing style is not like Mahomes, but I understand the
I guess you're right.
I'm just saying the competition, like how they see each other, I can see how that could be like the competitive nature of their relationship can be that.
You're right though. You're right.
But it's like realistically, I feel like it's more like Anthony Richardson's between a Josh Allen and a Lamar. It feels like if he hits his upside, that's where I feel like his projection is.
But there's one play last year where Richardson looked full on. If I close my eyes, so stupid. If I closed my eyes and looked at it, I would have thought it was no. If it would have been different colored jerseys, I wouldn't tell you. We would tell you which player it was. But he looked exactly like Patrick Mahomes in that touchdown pass. It was like a 2-yard touchdown pass he threw to Zach Moss. You remember that? Where Zach Moss was wide open, but the reason was because the same way Mahomes does shit by the goal line.
Really?
Richardson did that thing where he was like, am I going to tuck? Am I going to pump fake? And people are kind of whatever. And he's getting closer and closer to the goal line. And then, you know how Mahomes does that thing where like at the last second when you think there's no way he's going to not either go down or throw this ball away. He somehow does like a jump thing and like throws it around a couple defenders. Right. And there's just a wide open guy because everyone... It got so down to the last nanosecond, everyone had to break what they were doing and run at Mahomes. Like, because they were just like, we have to. There's no other. And there's
probably
a guy
by design
because he was going to run it in.
Right.
So they had to make that decision. That's what Richardson and Mahomes bring to the, and Lamar and Allen, all those guys bring it to the table too. But Mahomes and Allen, I guess, has that ability to where it's like, I am out of bounds in midair right now.
Right.
That's how long I had to wait for for things to break. And I'm still going to throw a 10-yard touchdown or a 5-yard touchdown. Like, it's crazy.
I think I found the highlight that you're referring to. Anthony Richardson, he escaped a sack during the Rams game. It was during the Rams game.
Yeah,
and then he kind of rolled out to his left and then hit Moss just before the goal line. Yeah, and then Zach just kind of like backed in. Yep. I know. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Looked carbon copy Mahomes.
It did.
That got me excited.
He stumbled a little bit, and it feels like he did stumble a little bit, almost lost his footing. But yeah, I totally see what you're saying, how impromptu it was. It was improvised. He kept his eyes downfield. He didn't panic. I admire Anthony Richardson's poise in that, like, there is some things about him that really just pass the eye test because of his poise.
But not just the eye test, the brain test.
Yeah.
Like I was a little bit worried about that because of his lack of experience, right?
Sure.
But everybody on the roster, the coaching staff, everybody's saying that he's passing the brain test.
Yeah.
We're going to call it that. I'm just going to call it that, the brain test.
So then I want to ask you this, who is CJ Stroud's play closest to?
Well, that's the thing is I was going to compare it to Mahomes.
We might not have a big sample size enough even to be able to see what his play style is like.
I kind of think we do. I think he settled into his play style. He's accurate. He's extremely accurate.
Right.
He's very aware. I mean, it took him a while. He was taking a lot of sacks at the beginning. And the offensive line was trash at the beginning. But he's very, like, pocket presence aware. Yeah. Like, he's good with that. He's not a runner, but he's mobile.
Sure.
Probably, but that's the thing. He's not really. That's why I was saying you're right about not comparing him to Mahomes as much play style, because Mahomes is more of a scrambler.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not really. He's mobile,
he's backyard football.
Yeah,
and
Stroud is not a scrambler.
Stroud feels textbook.
Yeah, he's mobile, but not a scrambler.
Right. He feels like delivering the ball accurately on time.
When did he ever tuck and run?
Right.
Not one time.
Right. So then who is that? You know what I mean? As far as veteran quarterbacks in the league.
I mean, I almost think. It's tough to say. I would think maybe almost Justin Herbert.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert's got a freaking cannon of an arm.
Yeah.
More so than Stroud. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I could see that.
But big, tall, accurate, mobile. I mean, not really runners.
I mean, CJ Stroud's like 6 feet, right? He's like 6 feet, I think.
I think he's pretty tall. If I recall correctly.
6'1". I think CJ Stroud. Height. Oh wow, he's 6'3".
Yeah,
which
6'3". Is for a quarterback is like
that is tall,
pretty average.
Yeah, Anthony. I mean I think that's on the. I mean 6'2" is 6'2", 6'3".
Gotcha,
That's pretty average, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, I think, is 6'5", right? So
it's funny to me picturing Kyler Murray in the quarter if he was like lined up next to all the quarterbacks, just looking up at all of them. Hey guys.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson 6'4". All right, so let's see. Kirk Cousins is CJ Stroud could kind of be a little bit like Kirk Cousins, a little bit. Maybe I'm trying to downplay him. I'm not trying. I mean, I'm not trying to.
You might be a little bit because I think he's more mobile than a Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but we're talking about like not a Kirk now. We're talking like a Kirk a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's more accurate than Kirk.
So then you think
although Kirk is more accurate now than he was.
Right. So then maybe CJ Stroud's like a Joe Burrow then?
Ooh, yeah, you know what?
I could kind of see that.
That actually kind of sounds right. I still think a little more Justin Herbert based on the amount of deep balls he throws and based on dude, last year he was chucking it at the second half of the season. Yeah. He was chucking some Tank Dell deep balls.
Yeah, Nico. But not. But he was throwing them in a Russell Wilson type way, not in a Justin Herbert type way. Justin Herbert, he doesn't chuck. He
zings.
He zings. You know what I mean? He it's on a zip line to the wide receiver.
No moon balls.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think for some reason in my head I remember seeing Stroud throwing a decent amount of line drives.
Interesting.
Like, I don't know, but
no, he did a lot. He did a lot as far as mid range.
I think you're right. The intermediate.
He does a great job with the intermediate. I think where we're hoping to get somebody in the deep ball game is, hopefully with Anthony Richardson's arm. I mean, there's no debating who has a stronger arm. I just think obviously CJ Stroud is just so freaking accurate, and he can just, mentally his game is there. I think it's like you said, the advantage that we have is hopefully going to come down to coaching. I mean,
yeah.
God, it makes me. It's like people are excited for the fact that we're gonna have it. If Anthony Richardson stays healthy, we're gonna have some exciting matchups between Stroud and Richardson. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want an exciting matchup. I want a sweep. That's what I want.
No,
I want a freaking sweep.
I want to go back to dominating the division.
I want it to be the most. I want the AFC South games to be the most boring games ever. I want people to turn on the game and be like, okay, the Colts are up 37-10.
Just like the Peyton days.
That's exactly what I want. I want nostalgia.
Yeah, where the only games that Peyton couldn't get on primetime was like Colts versus Jags, because everyone's like, no one's going to watch that, really.
Yeah.
No one's really going to, we know what's going to happen.
I want it to be the most boring games in the freaking, like, in the whole NFL.
You know what the problem is with us as Colts fans, why we're the way we are?
Yeah.
Is because our dynasty coincided with a dynasty that went better than ours. And that has never fucking happened in the NFL. Mean? The Peyton era and the Brady era lined up.
Right.
Peyton was supposed to win 10 Super Bowls with the Colts.
Right.
And had Bledsoe never gotten, I'm going to blame Bledsoe for this. Had Bledsoe never gotten hurt.
Poor Bledsoe.
Had he never gotten hurt.
Right.
Peyton would probably have like 8 fucking Super Bowls.
Right.
With Indy.
Right.
None with Denver. He would have stayed forever. Who cares if we get luck at that point? We just won 8 Super Bowls. And we got 1 because we couldn't get over this Patriots hump. And then the Chargers hump too. Like, we could have easily had like 6 Super Bowls if we just could have figured out how to fucking beat Rivers and Tom Brady.
Right.
I had a huge conundrum when Rivers came to us. When he came to us, I was just like, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
I don't want him. And guess what? He blew it for us in the playoffs again.
Yeah.
As our teammate this time.
I know.
On our team. So like,
friendly fire.
That's why the Colts fans, that's why we've been doing this podcast. Because this is how we became so passionate. Because it's like, dude, it's kind of like dating this beautiful, intelligent, smart woman, and then you realize, or man, and you realize that like you got part of their best years, but then they were just like, sorry, my mom's just getting sick. You date for 6 months, and you're like, this is gonna be marriage. And like, you're getting to know them just enough to where maybe we'll think about marriage. We're just gonna, sorry, my mom's sick. I gotta go. Take care of him, and you can't say no. You got to be like, okay, if I can't control this.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's here. It's happening.
Ugh.
And then they go take care of their mom. Next thing you know, they meet a girl over there in that city, and then you decide to stay there. And all of a sudden, you see pictures on Instagram. They're the most happily married couple. Now they got 2 kids, and you're just sitting there doing a Colts podcast.
You actually made me think something. You actually made me think of something because
that's a first.
No, I know. This is a huge moment. I think this actually could be that CJ Stroud is like, this is way early, all right? This is way early for both of them. But I could see it being where CJ Stroud is like Tom Brady and Anthony Richardson is like Patrick Mahomes, which arguably GOATs, but just in different eras. And now we've got these GOATs potentially in the same division.
Oh.
Relative athletic score.
I love that your German guy is also AI.
Yeah.
He's an AI German guy.
That's the only way I can get around it.
It's a relative athletic score. That is what matters to Chris Ballard.
Why
you gotta go cross-eyed when you do it? You gotta go cross-eyed to be German. Oh, snap. All right, I'm gonna throw some shade at an AFC South.
Wow.
Maybe that should be a segment too. Shading the South.
Ooh, love
where
it.
we just pick every episode, just something.
Just throw something, just throw them for no reason.
This one's for you, Florida.
Oh, damn, I know where this is going.
2 women are suing the Jacksonville Jaguars and kicker Brandon McManus, alleging that McManus assaulted them during team's overseas flight to London last year, according to court documents obtained by ESPN. Just saying, people, that's what you get when you root for Jacksonville.
No, Isaac. That's not what that means. You can still technically root for Jacksonville, but you cannot root for his kicker. Wait, during the flight?
No, he's on the Commanders now.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that funny? Now he's at the place with politicians, so he can get away with stuff like this.
Hey, nailed that.
But no, yeah, I'm just joking around. I'm just throwing shade.
Wait, I had a question though. He was on the flight with women?
Yeah, I guess I'm assuming they're identified as. Here are their names. These are very accurate names of these 2 women: Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2.
Okay.
In the lawsuit filed Friday night, Duval County Circuit Civil Court accused McManus of. I don't want to get into all that. and accused the Jaguars of failing to supervise whatever. I guess they're on the staff, maybe it looks like. Fictitious allegations, blah, blah, blah. Look, I don't know. I always hate when stuff like this. I would never make a judgment with no information. I was just trying to throw shade. But I'm assuming they're on the staff. It doesn't say on this thing, and I don't feel like reading it all on the podcast. But, it just seems like they were on the flight. They're probably on the staff. I mean, no one's on that flight that's not on the staff.
Gotcha.
Or in the crew, or a wife of a player or something. You know what I mean? Like, they're not just gonna let some random fans on there or anything. So
I get that.
But anyway, I'm just joking, jaw jacking around, as my old track coach in Indy used to say. Stop jaw jacking around. I still don't know what that means.
Quit jaw jacking the Jags, man.
Yeah, I'm jaw jagging around.
Quit jaw jacking the Jags. All right. Well, guys, this was a hella fun episode. All you bleeders, and all those who do not bleed as well. But we do hope that it is cold-blooded blue here on the Cold-Blooded Podcast.
And we hope that you eventually become bleeders.
Become bleeders.
We want you to bleed for us. It's the only thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Just conform. Conform to what we do here at the Cold-Blooded Podcast. Don't worry about the fact that sometimes I forget the sign and the thumbtacks, because I remembered both today at 9 a.m. and I'm not the morning person that maybe I seem to be. All chipper and cheery. Ha ha ha, this is me. No, that's not me. Bleed for us, please. Drew, take it away.
Okay, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We had a hella fun time.
Peace. The horse.